Hey there, welcome to Tabletop Throwdown. I'm Mike Dunn, Editor-in-Chief of Tabletop at Gaming Trend. Tonight we've got Mark Julian back with us, lead editor of Tabletop at Gaming Trend. And special co-host for the night, we've got Randy Gregory II, our lead hobby editor for Gaming Trend. And actually, the reason why he's here is because we've got a great topic for you tonight. It's going to be about hobby painting, and Randy is going to fill us in on some of what he does, some competitions that he's entering this year, as well as going in a little more in depth with his review that just came out yesterday of Army Painter's new Fanatic War Paints set. So really excited about that. And as a matter of fact, we've got someone from Army Painter who's going to talk with us about that a little later too. But first, let's get into some news. Okay, so lots of D&D news this week on this February the 14th, Valentine's Day. If you're not a lover of D&D, you might want to skip the next two news posts. But we do have a couple of things that have popped up. First off, Wizards of the Coast kills live action Dragonlance series. This has been confirmed by Margaret Weiss and Joe Manganiello. Joe Manganiello was very deeply involved in this. And of course, Margaret Weiss is the co-author with Tracy Hickman of all of the Dragonlance books from back in the day. Yeah, so this is kind of a bummer to me. A lot of this has been attributed to poor reception in sales of the Dragonlance Adventure and board game released last year, as well as Hasbro selling off its entertainment division, E1. We did get a look at that adventure. It was okay. It was told from a different perspective. Didn't involve a lot of the main characters of the Dragonlance that everybody knows and loves. And quite honestly, the board game that they released with it, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's, oh man, I'm spacing. I know it was created by Rob Daviau.
It's called Warriors of Krynn.
Warriors of Krynn, yeah, like I couldn't remember that. Yeah, so yeah, it wasn't a horrible game. It just felt incongruous with Dragonlance and D&D in general. It was a bold attempt to try to include like tactics in D&D. It just I guess my biggest gripe with it is that it just didn't really feel like D&D. And the components weren't very exciting. Like the table presence wasn't that great. I don't know if either of you guys ever saw it.
So this is actually the first I've ever heard of the game, but I feel like a lot of these D&D board games come out and I don't know, they feel like, why would I play this when I would just play D&D? It's like you're constraining the game in an unnecessary way. It's my impression, having not played it or playing D&D, but it feels weird to me to play a board game based on a tabletop game with extra steps.
I mean, yeah. I know, I feel you. The only one I've ever played is Lords of Waterdeep, which I enjoy.
Lords of Waterdeep is pretty good.
Yeah.
But there were some that were more direct tie-ins to like some of the adventures. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to remember, there's one that I've played that's really, really pretty good. It's kind of a hybrid deck builder. What was it? Tyrants of the Underdark. That one is super good. It takes place in the Underdark with the Drow. And then I've heard Wrath of Ashardalon was really good as well. So it's not like they haven't made some good ones. But and then of course they remade Dungeon, which is an old classic one that was sort of like for the kiddos. kind of game. But just to kind of get back onto the Dragonlance series that got killed. So some other factors could have been there was some litigiousness, some legal action going on between the writers of Dragonlance and Wizards of the Coast a couple of years ago, and going into last year. It did get resolved, but it could have been a contributing factor. And then like a lot of this story comes from a YouTube video, which we'll link to in the description, in an interview with Joe Manganiello, who's a huge fan of Dragonlance. His signature D&D character was actually a Draconian.
That's right.
Yep. But he even offered to purchase the rights to continue production. He said there was a pilot script and an incomplete world Bible that like went into all the different colors of the dragons and what they represent in the world of Krynn. But he was denied. Wizards of the Coast would rather not make it at all than have someone who's really passionate about it make it.
Interesting.
Really disappointing. Really,
yeah.
I grew up with Dragonlance. I love the original 2 trilogies, and haven't read much beyond that, but I've heard good things. Was a little disappointed with the 5th edition offering last year because you could go back in videos from in the last like few years. Where we've been talking about some of the D&D book releases, and I always consistently mention Dragonlance as being something that I wanted to see. And then when we got it, it just it kind of fell a little flat. But
maybe they're just holding on to the show until Wizards of the Coast inevitably launches their own streaming platform, because everybody needs their own streaming platform now.
So funny you should mention that. They actually kind of have. It's on like Freevee. Like they really didn't put much behind it. But there's been some great programming. In Counterparty is on the channel. And as well as Faster Purple Worm Kill and Heroes Feast, which is a cooking show, a D&D themed cooking show based on the cookbook that came out a few years ago. And then I believe they just announced that they're bringing Desi Quest to it as well. So
too crowded. Dragonlance is future.
It's kind of a bummer.
Well,
like I'm sitting here looking at maybe it's about how Honor of Thieves performed at the box office, because
that might have something to do with it too, but
barely hit its break-even point.
I've heard that they largely consider that to be enough of a success to kind of move forward. So I think mostly because it got a lot of like post-release buzz.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no Dragonlance. There was a cartoon that came out, like an animated pilot that came out. I guess it was the early 2000s, and it just was not good. The only name that I remember attached to it was Kiefer Sutherland. So whatever. But yeah. No Dragonlance. Very sad.
I'm sad. Yeah, I'm sad because I don't know. I really enjoyed seeing D&D on the big screen, and it just seems like a natural win to put it out on streaming services. And really sad that Joe couldn't just buy it with all of his various projects. He seems like he's one of those like big nerd guys who's like, he's a big Hollywood nerd guy. Like him and Henry Cavill just need to like come together and make their own production company.
Yep, right, exactly. Yeah, and he's like he's really coming off as very very upset about it too. Like I believe one of the things that he said was that everything that he did in an official capacity with D&D, with the D&D brand in the last several years was he did it so he could leverage that to make Dragonlance happen. And so, and I believe he was even working on a documentary about D&D uh, um, that he was directing. So it's kind of interesting to see him, spill the tea quite the way that he has in regards to this. So anyway, hope this isn't the end of the story. Uh, maybe something could happen. I wouldn't hold my breath though. All right, our next news item is another D&D news item. We did talk about this last week in regards to Jeremy Crawford saying that no way in heck are the new D&D source books coming out in May. We got an official release date this morning. This week. We got an official release date this week. The Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide will arrive in September, specifically September 17th. But the Monster Manual, for some strange reason, not hitting shelves until February of 2025. I can't help but think that that they wanted to get this out sooner. This is the 50th anniversary of D&D. They've got a whole new D&D 1 initiative that they're really trying to roll out this year. And all I can think of is that this probably has something to do with the digital component of D&D 1.
Yeah. That feels like it, because, I mean, lots of people are still playing 5th edition.
Yeah.
Like, why rush out a new Player's Handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide? Like,
well, I mean, allegedly, it's going to be all compatible with 5th edition. It's just they're trying to clean some things up and make some better stuff happen. But it also has to tie in with this digital component, which curiously enough was not part of the press release that we got. There was no word of any of that in the press release. My hunch is that the digital component probably needs to get baked a little longer. Either that, or we're going to hear more about the digital component soon, and they're going to lean into that heavier than these books, which I would think would probably be worse.
I mean, they need to figure something out there, because like they're right now, like for example, price, right? The price of the digital books is the same as the physical books, and I've always thought that is a little weird. Like, if they really want to expand this out, they have to fix a lot of things. So maybe that's what they're doing. They're going back and figuring out pricing plans, maybe more unique content offerings.
So I don't know if this is still the case today, but I seem to recall them saying something along the lines of that the print books would come with digital downloads, much like a vinyl record does these days. Right?
That'd be cool.
But what was that, Mark?
I said that would make sense. I know, like I just bought not D&D, but I just bought the Pirate Board book, and then they give you a card so you can then get the the digital copy for free. So kind of weird if you have to buy the physical and then also pay the same price again for a PDF. That'd be weird.
So that was largely due to the fact that originally D&D Beyond was not owned by Wizards of the Coast. They bought it a couple of years ago, as part of preparation for what they're doing this year / next year. But like all of the VTTs that have digital versions of the rules and assets from the books, you do have to purchase them within those platforms. And D&D Beyond was like that. Since they purchased D&D Beyond, I have seen like I think it was the Beetle and Grimm's editions would come with digital download codes, which are the super deluxe editions made by Matthew Lillard's Beetle and Grimm's company. But yeah, now that the platform doesn't have to license the digital books from D&D because it's all in-house, it seems like that would be the smart way to go. Of course, this is Hasbro. Yeah. We don't know what they're going to do. They're probably planning all kinds of microtransaction shenanigans. Oh yeah, it's gonna happen.
They're gonna be like, we're gonna fix the warlock,
yeah,
but it'll cost you an additional $5
for $2.99.
For $2.99, you can do more. Yeah, you could do 3 more cantrips. You don't have to just do that one warlock spell that everyone does. It's slipping my mind right now. But...
if you pay $15 for the battle pass, you level up faster. So.
For $5 more, you can get another spell slot.
Oh, wizards are going to pay so much money. Everyone's just going to play fighter. That's what'll happen. Everyone be like, fighter's so cheap to play.
So yeah, like the really curious thing about this is that 2 adventures that were announced, when they were announced, they were announced as they were going to be utilizing these new rule sets. But now Vecna, Eve of Ruin, and Quest from the Infinite Staircase are coming out before the new rules, but the manuals. So I don't know what's up with that. That's very strange.
But they're still using the new rules?
Don't know.
We assume? Yeah.
Don't know.
Here's a question, because I'm not too familiar with D&D. Is Vecna and then the Vecna in Stranger Things, is that the same
Absolutely,
thing?
yes.
Stranger Things uses D&D.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, so like all of those creature names that they're using are derived from D&D. Like Demogorgon.
Okay, the Mind Flayer and all that stuff.
Mind Flayer.
When's the next season of Stranger Things coming out?
Thinking like a few
this winter? This fall?
Sometime this year, maybe.
I think so, because it was delayed because of all the strikes. But...
Oh, maybe that could be why that they're just going to release the book. Because I mean, that seems like a no-brainer tie-in, cross promotion. Oh, you just saw Vecna in the TV show. Now get the book and fight him yourself. That sort of thing. Hasbro and Netflix coming together to make tons of money.
Okay, so as of January 8th, it's in production. So we might not see it until the end of this year or sometime next year.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind.
But I mean,
February
that matches up with like all the announcements we got today, right? End of this year, into next year. Go figure. We'll keep you posted on that. We do have a couple of non-D&D news announcements or news items on the docket. Ashet brings French board game company Super Meeple into its U.S. distribution roster. Now, Super Meeple had previously signed with Asmodee USA for exclusive U.S. distribution in 2021. And so that wasn't that long ago. I'm not sure how many games that Asmodee brought over, but clearly the all-French roster of Ashet was appealing to the Parisian board game company.
Competition is good. It's good for I love lots of Asmodee games, but it's also good for them not to be the distributor
Everything.
for everything in the
Yes.
hobby. So, yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was actually kind of half jokingly referring to Asmodee as the EA of tabletop. Because
It's
in the video game world, EA just like kind of gobbled up studios like Pac-Man for a good chunk of time there, and then horrible things ensued. Like they would come out with a game, it may not, might be a great game, then they like scuttle the studio, and yeah, usual corporate chicanery.
So the Embracer Group, who owns Asmodee, is headquartered in France. So it's kind of
That's true.
One French company to another, but I guess Ashet is more focused, whereas Asmodee is spread out all over the place.
And Ashet's been doing really good lately too. They've been knocking it out of the park with titles like Sky Team. Mark, you've been reviewing a bunch of their abstracts. I guess those have been a little hit or miss, but
hit or miss. I've had fun with some, not so much fun with others, but they can't all be winners.
Well, the first title that they're going to bring to the U.S. under the deal is a re-implementation of a game called Expeditions by Wolfgang Kramer. This one's going to be called Expeditions Around the World. So we've got a meeting with Ashet at Gamma Expo in a few weeks. So I imagine we'll find out a little bit more about this then. So
yeah, maybe they'll have it there.
Documentary film The Hobby, a movie about board games and board game culture, is going to premiere at South by Southwest Film Festival next month. Eric Lang, Elizabeth Hargrave, and Tom Vassell to appear among other notable people from the industry. Now,
I didn't know you were in a documentary.
Huh?
So I didn't know that you were in a documentary. Notable people, right?
Actually, I'm slated for the sequel.
Okay, that makes sense.
No, it's just this is kind of funny. It's like, Randy, you live in Austin. You've been to South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is something that if I still lived there, I'd probably be chomping at the bit to attend. And hey, maybe we can see if we can get you in, Randy. Are you going to be around during film festival? I think that's like second week of March, second or third week of March.
Yeah, I'll be there before going to Adepticon. I always go out the first weekend to South by with some friends, and we just try to. The goal is to spend no money and just get into as much free stuff as possible. But
which is pretty easy to do at South by Southwest.
Like a blast. It can be, yeah, it can be. You got to have someone who's a smooth talker with you. Like any good role playing group, you have to have a good face with you to just get you into situations.
Yep. Charisma rolls, charisma modifiers.
Mm-hmm. Lots of charisma rolls.
So the movie is going to explore the value of leisure time and uncovers the deep meaning found in meaningless pursuits. Just want to note that that's their words, not mine. And honestly, it appears to focus less on the history of board games and more on the culture around them, which is something I find very interesting because as we see the board game industry sort of transition into the mainstream, much like video games did about 10, 15 years ago, that culture is growing along with the industry. And of course, there's a rich history behind the culture, probably even richer than even video games had it. So,
yeah, I'm super curious about how this movie is going to go. I'm looking it up on the South by schedule right now. Yeah, it brings up it looks like it's going to be diving into just like the history of the subculture that we put ourselves into. It says dating back to ancient Mesopotamia. So yeah, that's That's going to be really interesting. I hope that it does the thing of like kind of like exposing that our culture is like extremely open, and like people just want to play games and just find new games and play new games instead of like, the old tired stereotypes of board game players being a bunch of, hat wearing awkward nerds, that don't know how to talk to people. Like I hope that it makes us look really good. Or we just got to have you in the next one.
Well, it's certainly going to be. It certainly doesn't have to do much to be better than that Vanity Fair article that came out a few months ago. I believe the title of it was "No, I don't want to play your board games when I come over," or something like that.
Something like
It
that.
was-
Yeah. Somebody was upset that they had friends. or
Yeah,
something.
somebody was upset that they had friends that wanted to actually do fun stuff with them. It
Hate
was
when that
just
happens.
so utterly arrogant and snobbish, and just it was bad. This one looks like it celebrates the hobby though, so I'm pretty excited
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Hopefully
Yeah,
we can check
there's,
it out somewhere after the festival, or it's
Yeah.
going to be streamed somewhere, or YouTube
Oh,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, like they show movies at South by with the intent of getting them picked
Yeah.
up. So fingers crossed this gets picked up. It looks like it's being screened 3 times at South by, so I could try to get into one of those.
Yeah, we'll see if we can make that happen. All right, well, that's all the news we have for this week. Let's get into the main topic. But first, a word from our sponsor. Hey there, Mike Dunn, Editor-in-Chief of Tabletop, and I've got something very special to tell you about. It's a new crowdfunding campaign from Gooey Cube. It's called The Tomb of Gyzengax. It's a tribute to Gary Gygax and many of the legends that created the wonderful game that we all love to play. The link is right down here. Go hit it up, back it. You can't go wrong. Okay, so tonight's topic is one that's near and dear to my heart. We're going to talk about hobby painting. The hobby side of gaming. We're talking about painting miniatures, whether it's a board game or D&D or Warhammer or something like that. There is a lot of us out there that like to, paint and customize these figures, and a big part of that is the actual paint that we use. And I thought this would be a good time because Randy, who is our hobby specialist here at Gaming Trend, he just reviewed Army Painter's brand new Fanatic War Paints Fanatic set. And yes, he's going to show us the giant box now.
So many paints.
It's so many paints.
It's so many paints. Randy, why don't you tell us a little bit about like what you've been doing in the hobby, and kind of the approach that you've taken in covering the hobby for Gaming Trend.
Yeah. So I think the way that I approach it, I like a lot of what we write on Gaming Trend. I think just having a lot of honesty and transparency, because I think the hobby is at this point where it's really big now. Like there's so many different paint companies available. Like, there's all the offerings from GW. You got Monument out there. You have obviously Army Painter. You have all these companies. And I think we're at this point now where it's so approachable that anyone can get into it. And so I think that means that our scrutiny of the industry and looking at reviews and looking at product needs to be more focused, and just instead of falling for influencers that are like, oh, I got these paints and they're amazing, everyone should get them. And I think that's what kind of like the approach that I bring to it, because thinking of I could use any of the paints that I have, but these ones ended up being really good.
Now, Randy, you're actually entering some competitions this year with some of your painting. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fun story. So last year was the last year of my 30s, and I had told myself that, hey, you know what? It's the last year of my 30s. I should go do things that I normally would never do. I had been painting models since like 2015 and just like progressively getting better at them. Every now and then a friend would commission one from me, but yeah, I wasn't really a hardcore painter. Um, that all changed last year when I was just like, I want to go to Adepticon and enter in models in the arguably the biggest painting competition in the world, Golden Demon. Um, because once again, that's not something I've never done before. Going from being just like, I'd say like a hobby painter into more enthusiast journeyman painter area was a bit of a big leap. So I brought 2 models to Chicago, put them in the Age of Sigmar and 40K competitions. Didn't win anything, but I treated it as a learning experience, along with all the classes that you can take. And then I went to ReaperCon in the fall of last year, and that's a different judging system, the open system of paint judging, where you are literally just judged on your own merits. And I pulled out 2 bronzes out of that one. So
Nice.
I was like, oh, I got awards now. Okay. And so it's kind of grown. And yeah, I'm going back to Adepticon here in about a month and some change. I'm now submitting 6 models. So I've got,
Oh, wow.
yeah, really stepped it up. I have not learned how to I don't half-ass things. I'm just going full in.
So I was gonna ask how you choose which model to paint for the competition, but it sounds like you just paint every model that you have for the competition.
So
if you think that's every model Radney has, you know nothing.
Oh man, no. So it's kind of funny. So last year, I was at Adepticon, and there's a vendor who, he's in Ohio, and he shows up and he brings just bins of just bits and models, and you can get models for cheap. So I picked up an orc war boss, and I was like, I'm going to paint this next year. And then I just promptly forgot about it until the fall of last year when I started putting it together. The Age of Sigmar model that I've got going, that one was just I randomly saw it in a store last year, and I was like, that's a cool model. It's a vampire lord on a log. And then I was just like, stretch goal, let's do Lord of the Rings, because there's a Lord of the Rings competition. So I got that one going. And then it just spiraled out of control, because I'm like, Marvel Crisis Protocol has a competition called The Worthy. So I've started painting a Deadpool that I'm just going to throw into it, because someone
Red,
gave me
black,
advice last year.
that's a quick paint.
It's a quick paint.
Yeah.
So last year, when I was getting into wanting to do competitions, someone gave me advice of saying, just bring what you have and put it in the competition. I think that was actually something I heard at ReaperCon, was don't be afraid of what you've painted, just bring it and just get it in the case. So I'm walking in with that perspective. I've also got a piece for Resin Beast that I haven't started yet. That one's going to be super quick to put together. Maybe I'll use metallic speed paints on it and see if
There
that
you
gets
go.
it. But and then I was approached. I learned of an opportunity through a company called Badger Games. They're a miniatures producer in the UK, to just paint a model for them for free, and then I have to give it to them.
Interesting. I thought Badger was an airbrush company.
I think there's got to be a few Badger companies. Yeah.
There's more than one Badger in the world.
Yeah. But it was just funny because I found out about it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll Badger Games. Yeah, they're out, I think, in the UK, but they do a bunch of 28 millimeter metal models, which is a whole nother realm of having to figure out how to paint something when it's metal.
Right.
But yeah, I stuck with it because I have ADD, and so I tend to collect hobbies, and this is the one hobby that I've just...
That's me too.
Right?
Oh my God.
I think a lot of gamers, we collect board games, we collect puzzles, and miniatures, and I was
I just
like,
like the
this
way
is
you
a
put that.
hobby.
I collect hobbies.
Mhm. Oh yeah. And it was just like, this is a hobby I can just stick with. And if I stick with and just put in energy into, and so I did the thing where I got another Instagram account, started pushing my miniature painting content there because, I would meet my friends in public. They're like, you painting your little figures? And I'm like, yeah. and so I started my own account, Weird Beard Minis, and I just started trying to connect to that community. I've told Mike this before, but I think that the miniature painting community is one of the most supportive ones. You'll have people that do like Marvel Crisis Protocol box art who like you'll see like Aaron Lovejoy. He just did the box art for the Iceman figure. That dude's taught me like 2 classes about non-metal metal and then making rusty dumpsters, and he is like the chillest dude. And you wouldn't even know that. You're like, oh, this guy paints like all the Marvel stuff. You would have no idea. And then he's just like, yeah, what did you paint? Oh, let me see that. And he'll just give you like on the fly feedback. It's such a welcoming community.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I've met what is it, Uncle Adam from Tabletop Minions before. He's such a nice guy. He's such a sweetheart. Like everybody I've met in this hobby has been really, really cool, laid back, and willing to share their knowledge.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So I just went and grabbed a couple of. So I mentioned that I tried to use the not the speed paints but the contrast paints. I don't know how this is going to translate, but I did kind of like this really interesting kind of approach with it where I was able to kind of get colors in the skin tone of this like ogre, and layer it so that it looked a lot more kind of realistic.
Yep.
That it wouldn't have been easy to do that. I was trying to see if there was like a more kind of artistic way to approach the contrast in the speed paints, and I was actually pretty pleased with the result. It made for something that didn't look like anything I'd really painted. It was very smooth.
Yeah.
And then this was the one figure that I've won a prize for, which is Hellboy. It was a Christmas miniatures painting contest at a local gaming store called Gamers Haven.
Nice.
I won a gift certificate. I didn't win a lot of clout or prestige.
Dude,
or anything.
you won something, like,
right?
Like you got that good vibe feeling, and I think that's the important part, because I think like for me it's like I love just like the good vibes. Like I'll be going to Adepticon this year and probably Nova Open in the fall, and I might go to like Gen Con in the middle of all that, but it's not about winning anything. It's just about like collecting experiences, and if I end up winning something, cool, like that's great. But I think I'm gonna go for the learning experiences, because like I've put several months of work into my Golden Demon pieces, and I have to keep telling myself that I'm probably going to lose to some like super professional European painter who like does this for money. But like the point of it is just to be there and to like, meet people like Uncle Adam and Vinny V and Ninjon, and be able just to like talk shop and learn and, build those connections. Like it's that's like the big part for me. And then of course, I get to like bust out some quick paints for my friends. Be like, hey, we're starting a Morkborg campaign. Can we like get some goblins on the table? Yeah, sure. Dry brush them.
I think Angel Heraldez has single-handedly been responsible for more of my Kickstarter backings than just about anyone I can think of.
Yeah.
He's why I have a toddler-sized Cthulhu over there for Cthulhu Death May Die. But yeah, no, it's It's so fun. I just wish I had more time to do it.
I mean, I think that's why you see things like contrast paints and speed paints and what have you out there, because not everyone wants to or has the ability to spend months doing a piece. And honestly, like, not every piece should be display or competition quality.
Right.
Like I always think, like, I look back at my early pieces and it's like I just wanted to paint something for the table. Like one of my first pieces was for this D&D campaign, and like I mean the skin tone is gray. Like I was like, maybe she's like a gray elf, but it was just like it didn't matter. At least had some color, and there's a little bit of fake blood on the axe, and like I've painted other versions of this like 2 or 3 times now, and actually the one where I got an award at ReaperCon was this model.
That's awesome.
Though it was
That's
in
really
a diorama. Cool. Yeah, it was definitely like a storyline of like, okay, it's the one I started with. Then I like did another one as like a test to be like, okay, what have I improved upon since 2015? And then it's like, okay, can I put it in a diorama? And that actually won an award, and I was like, all right, I think I've learned something.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's really cool.
I'm getting somewhere.
I think one of the things that I sort
ahead.
of struggle with in my painting, or I get discouraged, that typically all you see on Instagram or YouTube is that like box art quality or display quality stuff, and then I look at what I'm doing and I go, what am I doing? I'm not. Yes. So I guess going back to when you started 2015, what kept you, I guess, motivated to stick with it? And then obviously you've drastically improved since then. Where does that motivation come from to get through the like, I don't know what I'm doing phase of entering a new hobby like painting?
It's like that. I don't know. Part of me thinks it's like when you're playing like a Soulsborne game and you're just like, I have to get good and just like keep putting yourself through it. Part of it's that, and then I think just like the other part was I also view painting as a therapeutic hobby. And so like my day-to-day job can be pretty high stress. And so my studio gets to be that place that I just get to relax. But the funny thing about that is I had hit a point it was like a few years ago, where I ended up doing one of those Reddit challenges where you painted every day for a month, and it burned me out on the hobby for a year. Like I didn't touch painting for a solid year.
Oh wow!
And then I came back and it was like, oh, I'm a noob again. I gotta like relearn, and so I think like the thing that just kind of like kept me going was just like, I'm on a learner's journey. I'm constantly learning. Like there's not an end to this hobby. At least I don't see one in sight. And so that's what keeps me going, is just like, I'm going to constantly learn. And yeah, I mean, you're going to see like the most beautiful work on Instagram of like people with airbrushes doing like this like multi-point object source lighting, and it's gorgeous work. And I just look at it now with how did they do that? I want to know how they did that.
Yeah.
Like I'll reach out to painters on Instagram all the time. And because of it, I've made some friends in the community because of it. There's this guy, I think his name's Matthew, but his Instagram handle is OrcButt. And he's a former Blizzard, like World of Warcraft illustrator. Like he worked for Blizzard, and like his models are gorgeous. And I'm like, how did you do this stuff? Like he's blending like rust and metal and non-metal techniques together. And he's been super chill. He's been posting about it. He actually got inspired. He created his own Patreon, like everyone's doing. Get a Patreon, get some money. But like, I'm probably going to meet that dude in like a month and a half, and we're just going to be like, look at our orcs. Like, this is cool.
I'll show you my orc if you show me yours.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, look at my piece. This is my orc. Let me see your orc. And, we'll have that like fun moment together. Even though like, I mean, the dude like clearly comes from an art background. Like he's done, if you played World of Warcraft, you've probably seen his stuff. And like, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So much like you, Randy, I got into the hobby as part of like playing D&D. Now, I mean, when I was a kid, I tried my hand at it, and yes, I tried to use Tester's model paints on metal figures.
Yep.
That does not work at all.
Nope.
So that probably, let's see, that turned me off to it probably for about 25, 30 years.
It makes sense. It makes
the
sense.
worst experience.
I mean,
Yes.
if you think about this hobby before the advent of the internet, it must have been very hard to get into. Like, you
Oh,
have to
God.
go to like a GW store or like a hobby store, and there's going to be like a bunch of old dudes painting tanks, and you're going to be like, I want to paint a wizard, and like that's hard for people
Yeah.
to get into
Yeah.
because of like YouTube. I think like it's made it so easy. I remember like the first way I got into this was because I was with friends at a gaming convention. I was at a Gen Con in 2015, and one of my friends, who is a quote unquote professional painter because he gets paid for it, he was like, "Hey, let's do a painting 101 class," and like that opened it up. And so it was just like, okay, like it was easy to go to a conference, and then it was just like YouTube opened it up. It was just like, here's all these videos by, people like the Miniac. Like his videos were super inspirational to me in the beginning.
Yeah, I like Miniac as well.
And now I'm watching I'm watching all these like, once again, like Spanish, Italian painters, and like everything's subtitled, but I'm just like, how are you doing that?
It's the Spanish guy that's sponsored by Vallejo.
Angel Heraldez.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of another guy, but also him. He's also
Sergio.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sergio. Yeah.
Both of them incredible painters.
Yeah. But yeah, like
Calvo, Sergio Calvo. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. But yeah, like I guess about 5, maybe 6 years ago, I got back into D&D after not being into it for many, many years, and I I was the DM, and like I really wanted to have table presence. I was never too enthralled by the theater of the mind approach, and I loved how 5th edition really kind of uplifted like the table presence and having miniatures a lot more than it had in previous iterations. And so like when I started the campaign, I started by painting all of my players' characters. Like I even got a few like Hero Forge figures printed up so that they looked exactly like it. Like the characters that they were, not exactly, but a close approximation. And then I started getting a little more obsessive about it, and I wanted every encounter to have like painted minis. And so I would paint monsters. Like the thing that I hated was like the first thing I did was I painted a bunch of skeletons, and like that encounter lasted like that, and I spent like 3 weeks painting skeletons, and like they just mowed right through them, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But then there were other times where like I painted a frog hemoth and put that out on the table, and it was cool because like there's always that like moment where you're saying, okay, roll for initiative, and here's the monster you're going up against, right?
Yep.
And that kind of ooh ah at the table moment. But yeah, it was fun, man. I think at a certain point I gave up because I had like a huge encounter with a zombie herd. And I was like, there's no way. And I just had my buddy bring his entire Zombicide collection, and we just filled the table with zombies because he had like 4 or 5 different iterations of Zombicide. He loved
just start
loved
airbrushing. Just airbrush the army. That's like
no, I just threw him out there. But like I think at the same time I got into Dwarven Forge and Terrain, so did a lot of that.
No, that is like how it starts. Like we all have those like little moments. Like yeah, for me it was painting it for my friends. But like you mentioned Dwarven Forge. Like something I really want to get into is building terrain, but I don't have physical space for it to buy a
Yeah.
bunch of like MDF boards and get hot wire and foam and
You see those containers behind me?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like 4 columns stacked high full of Dwarven Forge. And that's only half of what I own. Like the rest is in boxes in the garage. It's kind of bonkers. And I know someone who owns like 4 times what I own. Like it's insane.
That's crazy.
But it's so cool. It's so cool it's so much effort and like so much to do, but so one thing that I thought it would be a good idea to have Mark in on this conversation was in regards to painting 3D printed stuff. Now, I would say most of my experience painting 3D printed stuff has either come from like printouts of characters from Hero Forge or stuff that I have like bought off of Etsy that people have modeled and printed. There's certain types of 3D prints that you can paint and certain types you can't. Like anything that looks like shiny and sparkly and has like all the ridges on it, you might as well not even.
Yeah, so one of the reasons I like 3D printing, whether it's resin or FDM, is the ability to kind of do the whole hobby in your home. You can print the miniatures, you can paint them, you can print the terrain, you can paint the terrain and do it all yourself. If you like that level of engaging with the hobby, some people, time is money. It's better if I could just buy this thing. I don't have to sit and make it and learn a whole other hobby. But there are just so many amazing creators putting out miniatures that you can 3D print that I don't know how you can not have a 3D printer if you're into cool models.
Right.
Whether people sell them on Etsy and stuff like that, but so many amazing things.
No, it's tempting. It's so tempting to have a 3D printer.
Yeah, and I know I printed for a friend. I printed this like T-Rex with a guy with like a lizard with a rifle riding on the back of a T-Rex. Just awesome stuff like that. All your D&D monsters, crazy stuff. Warhammer proxies, everything you could think of. But resin paints up pretty nice. Different blends of resin can paint up differently, and then getting it down to how brittle it is and stuff like that in terms of the miniature lasting. But I mostly print FDM stuff for terrain, which is not so nice to paint sometimes because you have those layers. So you got to do work to kind of fill the gaps more, to fill the layer lines before you paint. But if you're going for something on the table with paint on it, I think it's super easy. And if you want that, like I said, that level of doing it all yourself, being able to, like Mike was talking about, hey, I'm planning this D&D encounter and I need this specific setup. You could print exactly what you need and get it painted up on the table. So what a time to be alive in the tabletop hobby.
It's true.
I've been holding out. I think my strategy has worked because 3D printers have gotten so much better since I decided I was going to hold out.
Advancing so fast. So with miniatures, you really want to print resin. And right now, the level of detail that's able to be achieved, I would say, is on par with anything else on the market. Like we've reached the detail, but it's still the processing of supports, planning out where to put your supports, removing the supports, dealing with the toxic resin, cleaning the model, all that stuff. When somebody comes out with an all-in-one machine, like a coffee pot type machine where you just press go and it spits out the miniature and it's done, then Mike can get one. But right now you have to have a printer, you got to have a resin station, you got to have a UV curing box.
Let me know when I can print out a cup of Earl Grey.
Yeah. I think we're getting there.
Hot.
You know, Mark, you make a really good point about like the acceleration of technology, and it actually makes me think back to our earlier conversation about Dungeons and Dragons and going digital. It makes me wonder if that will become a thing with, like, say, Games Workshop, where you could either go to the store and buy like your 5-pack of Space Marines, or you could print them, but get them from GW, because like that, I just wonder if that's going to be a turn.
So there's companies doing that right now. I don't know that we're going to see GW doing it, but there are companies doing that model where you can order the box, they'll send it to you, or you can buy the STL from them and print it yourself, which I think that's the future. Personally.
So I believe GW is actually aggressively anti 3D print at this point. I've heard some rumors about them relaxing that a bit, but like, I mean, let's be honest, Games Workshop has a fairly consumer negative approach to their business. Their business model is very not great. It's pretty bad, actually.
Well, with all the Patreon creators and everybody putting out such incredible models that are, they're not 40K models, but they're as close as you can get. It just doesn't make sense to pay the prices that you're paying for the box of plastic at the store if you have access to a 3D printer and can print models that are just as good, and in a lot of cases better, like more detail, better looking. And then the miniature itself, when you print it, is pennies compared to the prices of the official GW models. So I'm not a Warhammer player, but if I was, I would be printing all of my models.
Yeah,
but then you can't play in the official tournaments.
No.
Well, it's kind of funny. So I am in a few different Discords with painters that do a lot of like, Golden Demon stuff. And of course there are rules, like you can't use anything that's 3D printed is not allowed. And you have to use like just GW things.
Yep.
And people on this Discord, they were just like, yeah, you could just make a 3D printed thing look like it's made out of green stuff and you're fine.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, secrets.
Yeah.
I won't name names, but there are some people that were like, clearly are like,
well, I mean, especially like those people that do that, like, because they do allow kit bashing, right? Kit bashing, which is like repurposing and like kind of sculpting your own bits and customization. So like, I feel like they got to know that they can't keep that up. But I don't know.
How can you prove it unless you break the model?
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, Games Workshop, if they could force you to only use Citadel paints, they would, right?
Yeah,
they would.
Yeah.
It's amazing how anti-consumer that company is in this day and age. It really is. But anyway, but yeah, let's circle back around to the Fanatic starter paint set. As a matter of fact, let's bring someone in from Army Painter to talk about that. Talk with him directly about it. We have a special guest here today, Adam Abramitz. He is the head of marketing at Army Painter.
No, not
tactical marketing.
Tactical marketing executive.
Tactical marketing. That's what
I
it
got.
was.
I got a couple people above me there. I'm not.
Okay,
that
all right.
ranks yet.
Well, you carry yourself that way. I just.
I'm heavily involved. Let's put it that way. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Fanatic.
Yeah, Fanatic, exactly. So Adam, tell us about like how this Fanatic Warpaints line came about. I know you've been doing a lot of good stuff with the speed paints and the airbrush line, but you guys just completely like started over from scratch.
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, the way I mean, it might look that way to people on the outside, but really, I wouldn't say it's starting from scratch. I would say that this has been an evolution that's been taking place for a number of years, actually. Fanatic has been, I would say, I've been with the company for 6 years. It's been about a 4-year long project. And really, if you want to see the direction things have been going with product development, you got to look all the way back to the Warpaint's Air range and then Speed Paint. And then when we decided to expand Speed Paint and then reformulate based on community feedback, all of this stuff was happening, but we were all working towards Fanatic. So the Air range was kind of a test that Bo had handed down to Thomas and I. And he says, I want you guys to go and do this. And then the next thing was Speed Paints. And the way that we've been developing products and learning and listening has all led us to where we're at today with Warpaint's Fanatic.
I've been using them for the last 2 weeks, and these are just an absolute joy to paint with. Like that, it's great. Like I got my start in like almost 10 years ago as a painter, and at the time it was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna buy like Reaper. There's GW, and then there was Army Painter, and like y'all were the first brushes that I bought. And so I was like, oh, these things are really useful. And like, I still use, I still have my old Army Painter brushes. I still use them today. Like they serve as good mixing brushes now, just after years of wear and tear.
Eventually they're going to, yeah.
Eventually,
We all have that pile, that cup filled with misfit brushes that we misused and didn't clean up properly.
Yeah. Which was nice. It was a great surprise opening up that box and getting those additional brushes. But the thing I really wanted to call out is honestly, like, thank you for the label design. I mean, on the front, cool, tree ancient. All right, I guess it's a tree. It's a tree color, but like I love the very dark reddish brown on one side, and then showing where it is within the system. Like I'm a designer at heart, and this is just so helpful because I think there's a lot of folks out there, and I'm really curious to kind of understand how you got to these decisions because these feel like very explicit design decisions.
So the design decisions, first of all, we have to give a huge amount of credit to our commercial marketing team, who are amazing. Amy, Jonas, Stieg, the people in that team, and now Cecily, who's our copywriter there. Very talented people, very smart people. Love working with them. So a lot of the design credit obviously goes to them. The inspiration behind the practical naming convention actually stems back to our work with the paint development team that helped us with the reformulation and the additional colors for Speed Paint 2.0. So a lot of that credit has to go to Brent Amberger from Goobertown Hobbies. If it were up to Brent, it wouldn't say deep ocean blue on the front. It would say greenish blue black. But we are the Army Painter. When we go to the big trade shows and the big conventions like the Nuremberg Toy Fair, we're not in the hobby hall, we're in the game hall because we make paints and accessories for games. Right. Granted, you can use our products for scale model and other things. Absolutely. But we're gamers at heart. So we don't want to give up those, sci-fi and fantasy inspired, those whimsical and sometimes nostalgic names, because that excites us and it gets us going. We live to play in these crazy worlds that we, paint up. And as I'm staring at models on, behind you, Mike, and I'm looking at tens and thousands of points of, miniatures over here. It's where we live. And so we got to give a lot of credit to other people, but that I think speaks to the way that we've been developing products. We've been listening to the community. Where other companies just kind of go their route and say, this is what you're stuck with. We took a lot of feedback and, credit to Bo and, the directors of this company for hearing us out and wanting to be a part of that, because that's a scary proposition. It's a vulnerable situation as a business to put yourself in, to say, hey, we accept that we're not perfect. Yeah, we took it on the chin a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, it's yielded a better product.
Definitely. I was, just thinking about it. I'm holding the Dry Blood special effect in my hand, and
I got
this
my
may or
first
may
labeled
not-
bottles just
Yeah?
like last week, right? I have all the prototype bottles here. So
Nice.
I just got mine. So yeah, I've got Dry Blood and True Blood right here, 2 effects.
Yeah. I mean, this Dry Blood may be my favorite thing in the entire box. That and the oil stain. And I'm curious about just like the testing that goes into creating this, because like Mike, I don't know if you know, but like when this thing dries, it leaves little crusties behind, kind of like coagulated blood. I think you probably mixed like some like powdered resin in there or something like that in order to achieve that effect. It's cool.
Exactly right. So
I've
just enough. It's just enough texture. So the rust effects, the verdigris all have it, and so does oozing vomit, which is disgusting. And but every 9-year-old kid is gonna, put that somewhere on a miniature, of course, and it's just, it's fun, and it's a different option. But with the Dry Blood and the True Blood, they actually are meant. I mean, you can use them separately and individually, but they're meant to work in unison, similar to the dry rust and the fresh rust. Where the True Blood is going to be a lot glossier, a lot smoother. It's going to be fresh blood, right? It's great for the splatter effects. And it's also really great over the Dry Blood, which is to, emulate like coagulated blood that is starting to dry up, maybe on the blade of an axe or something like that. So they work really well individually, but really fantastic together. And the texture thing just came from experimenting. This credit goes to Thomas Koltow, our lead studio painter and product developer. Sometimes he has the best and worst job in the world, because he gets to play and he gets to put things together and make it happen, but there's a lot of responsibility in doing that. And I think Thomas has really knocked it out of the park. The whole team has. We're all very proud, but we're most proud because, number one, I think that we're giving, as you said, you got your start with Reaper and some of these other companies out there. There's a lot of great paint brands out there, a lot of them. But we feel that we're unique in our position, as we are somebody that, and we're a brand that a lot of people got their start with, and we were their entry point into the hobby. And now I believe that we have a reason for them to either come back or for new hobbyists to stick with us, because I think with this new range, we have something that can level up as people progress in their hobby. We're there, and we have a paint that can stand up to every stage of their hobby journey.
Yeah, full disclosure. I got my start with the original Army Painter line. That was the first big box of paints, biggest box of paints that I bought. And I definitely still use a lot of the metallics and inks to this day. And now I'm looking at my current paint rack and eyeing expansions.
If I just tipped my camera over a little bit, you would just see way too much paint.
Yeah.
We're kind of
is that really a problem?
It's never a problem.
No.
No, and that's what I tell people. But you'd be surprised. I would never imagine that the complete set. I mean, the complete set in US dollars is it's over $700 US. That's a very expensive proposition. We know that. We know that it's not realistic that many hobbyists can afford that. And it's not sustainable long term, which is why we're offering it as a limited solution for those that do want to buy in. But it is outselling the mega set right now. It's performing insanely well, because there are customers out there that they're collectors. They want to have every paint from every brand. And it's a great way to do it. And it's a great savings at the end of the day. Mike slowly, sheepishly raises his hand.
Yeah. So let me just put it this way. I literally almost cried when I packed that box up and sent it to Randy, because that's like, never have I wanted for myself so much a piece of review product that I have sent to someone else.
And now, Randy, how does that make you feel?
I mean, really, really honored. It's been a blast. So I've been working on several models for competitions coming up. I've been entering 3 models in the Golden Demon this year. And when I got this set of paints, like, for example, the Dried Blood, this ended up being perfect for some effects that I needed to create on a model. The verdigris, the both the rust paints themselves, and then also just like some of the normal paint itself has been fantastic. I mean, I love the formulation and the what's it called? Is it the flexible triad system? That it's great. Like it really helps because you've got your specific paints that you can. I think everyday painters can easily create midtone, highlights, shadow, but then for the rest of us, like it enables us to create that whole spectrum of just like, oh, I need a midtone in between my midtone and highlight. I need to create like a super bright one. Like y'all have an ice yellow in there that like it has replaced. It's replaced my other ice yellow that I use from another company because it's so good and blows my mind. I'm like, oh, this is great. Everything in a box. I'm thrilled that the big boxes are flying off the shelves for y'all. Like that's great.
So more than anything, like I'm happy for this is something that we've been working on very closely for a long time. And anytime because we're hobbyists and we're gamers too, we really do genuinely put our heart and souls into it. And we want our friends out there to like what we do. I mean, it's when we say for gamers, by gamers, it's for real. I'm on holiday today. It's Mardi Gras where I live, and I played a quick game of 40K with my buddy John today. You know, like we live this stuff just like you do. When you work on something as long and as hard as we did, there's always that element of, are they going to like it? And we had tested this for years and extensively since last January, where we brought people to Denmark to finally showcase what we were working on. And throughout, we went to major events and we had these secret meetings, and I drove and flew to places to test these paints with artists, gamers, and hobbyists. And, you know, we jokingly say that they're probably the best paints in the world. It's a kind of a pull from another Danish company, Carlsberg Beer, probably the best beer in the world. We believe it's the best paint in the world for a lot of different reasons. We know that that's an impossible task to make the perfect paint. But we feel that we've made a paint that is easy for beginners to use. Honestly, people that are new to the hobby that will be just coming in over the next couple years are spoiled rotten because they're never going to have to know the pain of painting 12 thin coats of yellow, you know, to get a nice smooth coat, because you can get it in one to two with Fanatic Demonic Yellow or any of the yellows in the range. But
I mean, I think industry wide, like just it's been a wealth of riches. You know, so many good paint lines have come out these last few years, and like you guys just jumped right ahead of them with this one. It's so good.
It's been a long time coming, and I think that we've gotten this range to the point to where it's ready for the market. And I think the evidence shows we sent nearly 700 sets to customers and fans to preview before media, YouTubers, content creators ever got to really see it in the wild. And that was another one of those things. It's like, if we want to prove it to the people that matter most, we're going to put it in the hands of our customers and hear what they think. And they were very positive in their response to it. And if you watch, you know, the reviews that are coming out now, Vince Venturuela, even Ninjon has put it to use, and sounds like he's going to be including it into his rotation. I think that's just a testament that we finally made something. And I don't want to say finally made something. I mean, we've been knocking it out of the park with speed paint. Warpaint's Air, in my opinion, are still the best airbrush paints on the market today, if you're talking airbrush ready paints. It's just been a continued growth and a continued show of the quality and effort that we put into the products that we make for our customers out there.
Well, I know the Fanatic war paints are just now about to start hitting actual shelves and getting in painters' hands. But I can't help but wonder, what's next? What do you got going on?
Maybe a nap. I mean, if you really look at it, it's been 3 years of releases. I mean, it's been maybe closer to 4 years. I mean, it's been Warpaint's Air. It's been the Game Master range. It's been, all of the IP, the private label stuff that we do, BattleTech and everything like that. And there's loads of that. But we've been continually making big new product releases year after year after year. So if I had a magic 8-ball, I would say something's coming. I hope it's not a new paint range, but I I don't think that it's going to be a new paint, not a full paint range anytime soon.
Right.
But as much as I could tell you is that we're always tinkering, we're always playing around, we're always examining what the community wants and needs, and trying to find new ways to tweak and improve wherever we can. So I wouldn't expect a groundbreaking release like Fanatic next year, maybe, but I would say that you can certainly expect this trend of quality performance, all at a good price and widely available from an approachable company. That trend is going to continue.
All right. Well, that was Adam from Army Painter, Adam Abramitz. Definitely check out our review, Randy's review of the new Army Painter Fanatic Warpaints Fanatic set, the jumbo set. As Adam just told us, that set is it's a huge set that retails for over $700, and apparently it's just selling like hotcakes. That's how popular the line is already, and it hasn't even really hit store shelves. It's only been available for pre-order off of their site, I believe.
It blows my mind that he told us that like the full sets are selling. Like, I was shocked because in my my review I call it that like it's a bit of a hurdle from like a price perspective, but I mean, he blew my mind.
Well, and then I think most importantly, like his mind was kind of blown too from the way he was talking about it. Like they did that to just represent the full line, and weren't planning on keeping that SKU around for long after the pre-order, right after the launch. But you will be able to buy all of those individually from game stores once they hit your LGS. But great topic. Thanks for joining us, Randy. I think you gave us a nice little glimpse into the world of hobby painting, and your review has almost convinced me to buy that big set myself.
Maybe we just gotta like sit back and just like hope that the paint gods will just bestow you with a whole box.
Well, I mean, it's not like I'm lacking for paints over here. I have paints.
Once again, we collect things in this hobby.
Yes. Collecting the paint is part of collecting.
It is
of the hobby for sure.
You don't have to use them; you just have to have them.
Yeah, I know, but they're like staring at me, like paint with us. Like it's, and then my airbrush is, it's just I need to clone myself. I think I've said this before. I just need to clone myself, and he can work through my backlog. But great topic. Thanks for joining us. Definitely check out the review, and Randy will keep on keeping on with the hobby stuff on Gaming Trend. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled for stuff in the future. We've got he's got those he's got the Golden Demon to look forward to. He's got Adepticon, ReaperCon, all that stuff, and he might be joining us at Gen Con this year. Which would be great, because that means we would probably get a lot more hobby coverage from Gen Con as a result, and that's something that I've really wanted to give everybody is a lot more coverage like that. We'll be back next week. If you have any questions or ideas for topics for us, email us at tabletopthrowdown@gamingtrend.com. If we get enough emails, we might even read some on air. I don't know, it's still a little early. This is our second episode, but
we want to talk about what you want to hear about. So.
Yeah,
us know
we
what you wanna hear about.
do. We'd love to hear about what you guys want us to chat about, and maybe get some special guests on board. We've got a lot more great topics lined up. Next week is going to be particularly good. But yeah. And once again, thanks to our sponsor this month, GUI Cube. They've got the Tomb of Guys and Gax adventure, homage adventure that is going to be hitting Kickstarter towards the end of the month, around Garyton, I believe. Yeah, check that out. We've got the link in the description down here. And yeah, we'll see you next week.